Well, here we are with another Artsy August bingo make. This time I'm going to do the decoupage. And I have a couple of items that I did show this on another video. These are the toggle buttons. They're just an older vintage buttons actually, and they were used for coats mostly. I've known about these forever, but I am old, and I recently discovered that there are people who have never heard of a toggle button. What I did is I used napkins to decoupage them, and you could use thin paper, tissue paper, and I'm stringing them together to make a variety of things. I did make a journal closure with one of them. This is a dangle that I'm not finished working on that I'm going to be adding to a journal that I'm currently working on. And so I won't be showing that again, but I think they make some really pretty interesting buttons or beads. If you chose to make it a bead, you could fill the holes up with something, paper, and then decoupage around that so that you don't have the depression. I have the depression in there, and I intend to just push right through that with a brush handle, and then I would string that onto something. And so that's one of the things that I made using the decoupage napkin technique. Here are some of the napkins that I use. This is a flowery one. Here's a watermelon piece. This one was, I don't even know what it was exactly, but it was pink and blue and gold. And so it can make some interesting color combinations. The other thing that I decoupaged, you could just glue these onto this as well. At the Dollar Tree, I purchased these wooden, they're flat dominoes, and I thought they would be great to add some, like either a keychain or a dangle for a journal. And so I took various pieces of paper, fabric, napkins, and I decoupaged. You could use stamps. I used the decoupage medium, the Mod Podge, to put these on and ink the edges and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to put a piece of fabric on there with the Mod Podge, and also for those who haven't worked with napkins, I will demonstrate this technique of how to separate. I love this napkin. It has the lavender, and I just love the subject matter. And so what I use is I take a piece of Scotch tape, if I can get it, and I put it on the back and tear it off. And then that helps you to start separating the back layer. And some people save this layer as well and use this for their journals and decoupage. A lot of these napkins have several layers to them. I'm not sure about this one, so to discover whether or not there's another layer here, I'm going to add another piece of Scotch tape. Could result in me tearing the napkin, but yep, in fact it does. There's another layer. So that helps me to separate that layer as well. So now we're down to just a single layer of the napkin. And what you could do is just tear off the piece that you want to use. I think I'm going to actually try to put the image right over top of this. Now, if you didn't want the color of the tag to come through, you could put another piece of paper on there. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to apply some of the Mod Podge to the tag, and I use an old brush for this. I really should have a glue mat or glue paper or something down so I don't get that Mod Podge on my surface here. I'm going to place the napkin over that, smooth it down. You can turn it over, and an easy way to tear it off would be you could wait for it to dry, cut off the edges, or for time's sake, you could tear this off. Now, I have no idea. I think yes, I did. I tore what I didn't want to tear. But we will fix that. Okay, so there it is, but you can see I have torn this section here. So what I'm going to do is find a piece close to that, right here. Tear that off. And I will add some Mod Podge to the top of this. I'm going to lay that right on top of that. Now you can wait for your layers to dry. You should wait for the layers to dry. And it dries pretty quickly because the napkin is so thin. So I'm going to add another quick layer on this and let it dry while we work on one of the other pieces. I'm not worried about the edges. They're rough looking, but in the end, when this is dry, I can take a sanding block or an emery board or even the scissors and just cut those rough edges off or sand them off, and that gives an interesting effect as well. And I'm just going to put that aside, let it dry. Now, I have a box of scrap pieces here that whenever I'm working on something, if I have some pieces or cards or whatever, I stick it in here. So I'm going to look through here quickly to find something rather plain to put on there. I should have my other scrap box. I have some plain papers and some decorative papers. This side of the domino, of course, doesn't have anything on. This side is shiny, so that may give a little bit of trouble with trying to keep something on it. I think I'm going to go with this side, and I'm going to put this image with the Mod Podge on here, and I think I'm going to go like that. Now, when I'm working on this and I'm not in a hurry, I may have cut that, might try to cut that ahead of time and not have this big piece to work with. But I'm going to clean that Mod Podge up off of here. And, but I can wrap that around, and as I said, can either sand this off or cut it off. And around the edges of this piece, I could put maybe some stickles or Nuvo dots instead of making dots. Not Nuvo dots. What do you call that? Nuvo drops. That's it. Instead of making just little drops, you could actually do a bead of it all the way around and create a border around this piece, because it has a little bit of a thickness to it, 1/16 of an inch or something, I think. But this is tearing off okay. And you could wrap ribbon around that too. So we'll smooth more of that off. And again, I'll put another coat of the Mod Podge on there. But what I want to do is I'm going to put this on, and I'm not going to put anything underneath between the fabric and this wood. I guess it's like a balsa wood. I'm not sure what kind of a material this domino thing is made of. I think it did say they were wood. And anyway, this is a little piece of scrap fabric. I thought I would just stick that on here. Use this to just, whoop. Well, I put more wrinkles in than I was taking out. There we go. Now I'll add another coat to the fabric. And once that is dry, I can decide if I want to maybe add some ink to where the pinking marks, the pinking sheer marks of the fabric are. I could maybe ink that, or as I said, add some Nuvo drops or glitter glue, something around that to hide the white or the base of the domino. Likewise with these, I could now take images that I have, butterflies, or let's see if I can find something. Here's a little pieces of music that I have here. And you could just embellish these more by putting a little Mod Podge down, and then making sure you have this the right direction. I think it goes this way. I think that's, and keep adding things on top. So this will flatten out as it dries, and I will continue working on this piece. And I have a drill, and I will drill a hole in that, add a ribbon to it, or a string or something, just like this one, and maybe add some words to it. I've stamped on fabric here and decoupage that to this. So you can use the decoupage medium, or you could use glue, but that's my contribution for the decoupage with a napkin and fabric and paper. Hope you will join us with the Artsy August, and it's Cara Brandon Creations is who's sponsoring the Artsy August, and she's running. She has prizes every week for people who are entering. So I will have information under this video. Bye.